Hey there, hi there, ho there, hello there, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, where we endeavor to bring you the joy and excitement of UofL women's athletics. Certainly in the spring of things right now, so to speak, where we've got kind of an overlapping of sports. We've got a little bit of basketball yet to play. There's also spring sports going on right now. We've been covering a couple of those very closely. Just all kinds of stuff happening right now. And if, in case you didn't know it, you got to turn your clock forward ahead tonight too. If it wasn't
Ugh,
bad enough, everything else going on,
For the last time.
you're going to lose an hour's sleep. And is it the last time, Case? What do you think about that?
For now.
I don't know.
They passed the law, right?
I didn't see anything on it, did they?
I think it's maybe in progress, but it's not done yet,
Oh, man, I've been all excited for nothing.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I wish they would.
That would be
None of it.
because it's yeah. Just do we need to do this? Let's go ahead and get rid of this. This is silly. But anyway, don't forget to do that at 2 a.m. this morning. No, why don't you just do it before you go to bed? That's a great idea.
Or be like me, just don't have any clocks in your life that don't set themselves.
It's to the point where I've only got one or two.
Okay. The bill passed the Senate last year,
Yeah,
but was not passed in the House.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the
So
house is down it up.
so daylight savings time or standard time lives on.
Yeah. It will be back with us in the
Starting
fall.
in November.
Yeah.
It used to be I used to have to walk the house and check every room
Yeah.
for clocks, but as years have gone by, most of mine
Yeah.
automatically catch the change, and I think I've
Yeah.
only got
I,
one or two.
there are a few clocks around me that do not set themselves, but those are the ones that I just completely ignore and never set to begin with. So,
We have 3 appliance clocks within 4 feet of
yeah.
each other, and
Yeah.
the power has blinked like 3 times this week. And it's the
Right.
most infuriating thing to reset
Yeah.
those clocks.
Oh yeah,
I gave up on it long ago. I don't care what those clocks say. I don't care what they display. I just ignore them. I'm
It must be
like,
nice. That must be really nice to
yeah.
to be able to, mentally
Yeah.
and psychologically handle that.
Yeah.
I can't do it because I've got one on the stove and it's way off because I've never bothered to reset that, right?
Right. Right.
And so I'll look at it. I'll be getting ready to cook something. It's like 7:30 in the morning, and it tells me it's 3:45 in the afternoon. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? What happened here? Oh, it's the stove. Never mind. But as you've been able to determine, most likely we have three on the show today: me, Case, and of course Jeff McAdams. As Jared is, what was Jared sleeping in or something? I forgot
No,
what
it's work.
he was working today. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
both
is.
of them working.
He's
He
had a
is.
busy week. I mean, let's be fair.
That's
Looks,
true. He has gotten slammed by
yeah.
all the
He works for an insurance company, basically. Yeah.
and
Look, all the other times he gets to take banker's hours.
Right.
This is that.
This is the makeup for it when
Yeah.
you're
oh yeah, this is.
constantly dealing with just hundreds of thousands probably of claims.
He was said they were not slowing down when I talked with him.
Yeah.
I think it was last night briefly.
Yeah.
He gave me a quick call just to kind of remind me he wasn't going to be on.
There's a house down the street from me. I didn't actually look this morning on the way in. I think it still has a tree down on the roof. They haven't gotten it off yet. So
Oh, we've got about 4 or 5 down on
Yeah.
our street here, and just right down the street from me is Fern Creek Park.
Yeah.
And that's one of the centers where you can take your tree and other types
yeah.
of refuge and have it turned into mulch or whatever.
Yeah.
Those boys run. Those boys were running until about 9 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
And you can hear it, because obviously a mulcher like that, when it's industrial size,
Right.
makes a little bit of noise.
Yep.
So I had the melodic
Couple-
sense of that.
Couple of houses in the neighborhood are just like almost got bisected by trees falling on.
Oof.
It's pretty bad. One of them was uninhabited, which is nice, but it was yeah.
So Mother Nature rears its ugly head again and says, "Guess what?" But in catching up with the guys, we both obviously, all three of us went through some storm damage. What else is going on, Case? What's happening in your world?
Well, no. Fortunately, got away from any storm issues here. We didn't even lose power
It's nice.
during it, which was definitely a bit of a surprise. But we were happy with it. Last weekend, I took advantage of the weather and the soft ground, planted 10 trees. Uh, Not to replace any that fell, because, like we said, got lucky. But
So 30 years from now, you're screwed with the next wind.
Yeah.
we planted a bunch of arborvitaes, which are like a privacy evergreen,
Okay. Yeah, I've seen
and
those.
they get to be about 15 feet tall, 4 feet wide at their biggest. So um, it was definitely not pleasant to dig a bunch of 2 to 3 foot holes and then try to get the dirt back in there and get them all leveled out. But like I said, with the soft ground, it definitely made up for it.
But feel those biceps. He's got some guns on him now, right?
I do not. It was all in the lower back, and the lower back let me know it when I woke up the next day.
As long as you didn't put any river birches in, you're in fine shape because the river birch in itself will drop more branches than anything out there. Anything. The river birch was born and raised up and grows to a height where it says all of a sudden, you know what? I got way too many branches. Let's just start throwing tons of them on the ground.
Yeah.
And it's a pain to go around and pick
Yeah.
up after it. But what can you do? Jeff with us as well. Jeff, what's going on in your world, pal?
Yeah, well, we did get a bit with the storm. We were without power all weekend from Friday afternoon through to Sunday evening late. Finally got it restored. There was a big tree that fell along Taylorsville Road, landed on the power lines, pulled them down, and that then snapped the utility pole.
Ooh.
So yeah, that was a fun one. That one took a while for them to get that replaced and repaired. We did have a tree come down in our backyard. For a falling tree, it was very well behaved. It fell, and it was by the back fence, so it took out the fence panel as the root ball kind of came up. But other than that, it fell into the yard. Didn't hit anything else. So it caught another limb off another tree and pulled it out, but didn't hit any structures whatsoever. It just fell right into the yard, nice and cleanly, and didn't bother anything. So as trees falling go, that's a pretty good way to do it. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you got lucky there. Now, do
Yeah.
you do the generator routine when that happens?
No.
No.
We just I live with my mother now, and we both are fairly austere people at times. And so we just make sure we keep our phones charged. I got a couple external batteries. I brought some bigger little carry batteries from some friends, just in case, just to keep our phones charged for emergencies and such. But other than that, went to bed early. Had some of the best sleep I've had in a long time because I went to bed early because there wasn't anything else to do. So
That was something I heard from a lot of people. It was like,
yeah.
"What'd you do this weekend?" Well, I woke up when the sun came up, and I went to sleep when it got dark.
Yeah, and it felt great to get some really good sleep. So yeah, I need to learn that lesson. So,
Jeff is
power came back
every
on.
weekend. Every weekend we need a big storm.
Power came back on Sunday night. I start screwing around on the internet. Next thing I know, it's half hour past my normal bedtime, which is way later than it should be apparently. So okay. Anyway,
Jeff's gonna start just going down, turning off the main breaker.
yeah.
No power
Dick,
here.
cut the power's out, Ma.
Yeah. I do have scheduled for Monday and Tuesday. I'm taking off. I'm just gonna do a couple of days of PTO and just kind of mental break a little bit. So that'll be
Always
a nice
good
little
to
break.
kind of refresh and renew. Absolutely, sir.
Yep.
And if it's time to do it, then by golly, go get it.
Yeah, I was trying to kind of think about what I was going to do. I've kind of been pondering maybe go up to Indianapolis for a couple of days. I've never really explored that city. But then I also kind of realized that there's some things here in Louisville that I have never seen or done that I probably should, like the Slugger Bat Museum. I haven't been to it since it came back to Louisville. The Muhammad Ali Museum, I haven't been to it. The Fraser Museum, they're like a bunch of museums that I've not ever been to, and I'm a Louisvillian. Why not go to them? So anyway, I may do some of those.
Jeff was telling me before the show too. He has never been to Pleasure Ridge Park. and was thinking maybe of spending a couple hours over there.
I have been about. My father was born and raised in
If
PRP.
anybody knows anything that's going on in PRP Monday or Tuesday, go ahead
Yeah,
and let Jeff know.
yeah,
And I'm sure he'd love to drop by and spend about 15 minutes checking it out, and
that's right.
then hopping back on Dixie Highway and going elsewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as us go over here, we did not lose power. We did flicker a couple of times, but we did not lose. So everything was pretty normal for us. There's a big subdivision across the street from me over here, and parts of that did lose power,
Mhm.
and so we've been seeing the LGED and others rolling back into there.
I was looking at the map, and if it's what I'm thinking of, they were still without power like yesterday when I was looking.
Yeah,
Some of it. Yeah.
we've been seeing the trucks go in constantly,
Yeah.
and so either they've opened a substation that I don't know about across the street from me, or they were working on power back
Yeah.
there. I don't drive back there very often, so I used to walk back there years ago. I had a nice little walking course lined out, and then
Mhm.
I stopped doing that because some of the dogs in the area are not really receptive and friendly to walkers.
Hmm.
And one was able to jump a fence and kind of harassed me a little bit and ended up
Mhm.
nipping at me a little bit. So fortunately, I do carry a cane with me when I walk, and
Yeah. You hate to use it, but sometimes it's necessary.
just a cautionary tap on the side of the body,
Yeah.
and it took the fight out of him. He was
Yeah.
back to the safety of his own territory. But yeah, and then plus with my knee the way it is now, if I can walk from here to the bathroom in 2 hours, it's a pretty good truck for me.
Mm.
Just handling in there with that. But other than that, no. I know Jeff, with your couple of days off, that'll give you extra time and ample time to schedule the NCAA women's bracket, and so he'll be able to
Yeah,
give us.
but I'll still probably end up doing that last minute like I do every year.
He'll end up spending 2 years, 2 days, nothing but that.
Yeah.
More coffee. I'm on the quarterfinals. Uh, yeah, congratulations also to our winners of the ACC bracket challenge. There certainly a good job by them indeed, as they were able to 12 and I think 12-2 won it. Yeah, 12-2
Yep.
won the thing, and that's pretty impressive because I didn't have 12-2. And actually, a girl that Daryl works with, Karen Johnson, down at UofL, had the winning entry. So congratulations to her. And she did have Virginia Tech as the winning team. So Daryl said, "Oh, she knows everything about basketball. Just ask her." Obviously, she does because she won our tournament.
I came out better than a coin flip, which is what I usually shoot for. So
Yeah,
I'm happy.
the Cardinal Chimps didn't do very good this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had like I think a 5-way tie for second place at 11-3, if I remember correctly. So it came down to the closest to the total score, and Jared Anderson was able to capture that one. So a fun contest. We had we had a good participation amount of people. We are going to turn right around and do the much harder to grade and brain taxing NCAA women's basketball tournament, where we're not tracking just 15 teams. By golly, we're tracking 64 plus. So
Mhm.
always fun and always great eye strain when you're at 11:30 trying to figure out, is that say Clemson or Colorado? God, I need to close my eyes. But so look forward for that. We'll be mentioning it in articles at Cardinal Couple as we go along. Everybody try to get in there and jump in there and play that one too with the same
Mhm.
prizes. Although I did get tempted. Somebody gave us a Starbucks gift card.
Mhm.
Now, I don't go to Starbucks. My wife doesn't go to Starbucks. Giving us a Starbucks gift card is the equivalent of giving a dog an accordion. You know, he's going to look at it. He's going to raise his head.
Maybe chew on
What
it.
am I supposed to do here? Raise his leg and mark it. But we just don't do Starbucks. So I've got this $25 gift card for Starbucks. It's basically going to sit here and grow a mold on it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about throwing that in there in place of the actual Taco Bell card I've got,
Mhm.
but we'll see on that.
Okay.
I don't know if it's right to give both first and second place the same prize. We'll see.
Mhm.
it's a moral dilemma.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out, and we'll get something going on that. So make sure and enter the Cardinal Couple NCAA WBB Pick'em contest for the tournament. Good fun had by all, except for those who have to grade and score it.
Mhm.
Uh, Jared and I think I had about 4 or 5 different debates on different brackets. He uses some newfangled, he uses some type of Excel system where he tracks everything out and has it all lined up and everything. I just use a pen and a piece of paper. Okay. It's much more simpler. Anyway,
In computer science terms, redundancy like that is good. You have not only do you have different like entities tracking it, you have different systems that they're using to do it, so they don't fail the same way. So that's
that's
good.
true.
So
Yeah.
it's great, right?
In
Or
theory,
in
the
Billet.
best redundancy would be both doing both methods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of work.
That would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm-
Then essentially you're having 4 entities doing it, which
Yeah.
it is added redundancy, but
In military terms, I guess you
Yeah.
could say we're not just attacking this fortress by land, we're coming in by sea as well. Okay. With our 2 different types of ways of doing it. It's always fun to do. Not at the time, but once it's over, we kind of look back at it and say, wow, that was something else. So get into the tournament, play, win valuable prizes, be the first on the block to tell your parents, your friends, that guy down the street who doesn't like you crossing his lawn. Hey, guess what? I won the CC tournament. Look at me. Maybe we'll get you bling like Haley Van Lith likes to wear. But hey, we've haven't even talked about our first subject here yet today, as we've been kind of wool gathering a little bit, but that's fine. We need to do a little scheduling and Twitter information as well. Although, without Jared here, I guess I'm going to have to go to old standby case on this. I like to give this to Jared because Jared goes into these soliloquies on the side of each event. And usually it includes a selfie or two when doing scheduling and Twitter. And I don't know how he's accomplished that, but it's up to you, Case. The ball is in your court, so to speak.
Well, I was just going to let you keep going because I chose the exact right time to start eating a snack. Or exact wrong time, I should say, to start eating a snack. So
As long as it isn't peanut butter, okay, you're okay.
it is not. Yeah, I'm ready to go to utilize the somehow worse calendar that they have now. I decided to go with the list view, but then remembered that it goes Sunday to Saturday, and you can't edit the days that you're on. So we got starting today, which is fine because it's quite busy. Women's golf is at the Clover Cup in Mesa, Arizona. It's hosted by Notre Dame in Mesa, Arizona. Sure, I guess nobody wants to play golf in South Bend on March 11th, to be honest, anyway. That's all day, but probably just getting underway with Arizona a few hours behind us. NCAA Indoor Championships, also out there on Mountain Time, I think.
in Arizona, yeah.
Well,
Should
they're
be.
in Albuquerque, but yeah.
Oh no, yeah, then definitely.
Oh, right, yeah. My Southwest geography is limited. But a little bit about that. No women's participation today. Both Sinclair Savage and Elia Welter had events yesterday. Good results from them. But that event continues today. There is still some UofL participation. All-day event. The NCAA diving zones are today. Since Louisville lists that, I have to assume Louisville's participating, but I don't recall seeing anything specific about it.
There was something going on yesterday with it. I think I saw updates, so I think
I
they are.
think I saw something on Go Kart. I'm
Looks
not
like
positive.
4 women
Yeah.
competition began. Yeah, no. Pretty good amount. Cardinals diving squad will be led by ACC platform silver medalist Elsie Prasternick. Will be joined by Giselle Miller, Grace Leonard, Lindsay Gizzy, Adam Sneeden, Shay Stevens, and Thomas Dowling. So
I think some of the events may have finished up yesterday, and some of them are still continuing today. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it started on Thursday. So
yeah.
Rowing is at spring training not an event. This is just listed as spring training in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I think usually we see that listed as an actual event hosted by somebody, but
We frequently
guess,
host one there too.
yeah. But I guess this season they're just gonna say, yeah, we traveled down here for a week. They're there until next Friday. Boston College at Chestnut or in Chestnut Hill at Boston College is lacrosse. That game got underway about 20 minutes ago. Don't have it pulled up, so I can't give you a quick update, but I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later. Baseball had a big comeback win against Dayton yesterday in game one of that series. Game two at 1 p.m. today at Jim Patterson Stadium on ACC Network Extra. Softball had a moderate comeback that fell short against Duke yesterday in game one of their series. They will play two today due to impending weather in Durham tomorrow. So they'll have a doubleheader starting at 2 p.m. on ACC Network Extra. They list the second game as 4:30. Yesterday's game one was 2 hours and 50 minutes. At that pace, they would not start until about 5:20 or 5:30, not 4:30. So if you want to settle in for some softball, put it on ACC Network at 2 and see what happens. That gets us through all of today somehow, only through one day.
Just a quick update for you too here. With 4:48 left in the first quarter, Louisville lacrosse is up 3-1 on number 5 ranked Boston College.
Nice.
So how about that? Huh? So,
all right.
The Cards are looking good so far. It's early yet, though. Let's not forget that the Nakazawa sisters have one of the goals, and Hannah Morris has 2 goals. So go Cards! Go ahead, Case.
Yeah, that's
4-1. Wait a second. Update. Kalia Dobson just scored.
Look at that.
4:29 to go. 4-1. Yes. Everybody now get at your good luck charms and hold on to them.
Don't move. Everybody stay where you're at.
As both Nakazawas have scored now. How about that?
Hopefully they can keep that.
You're ahead of the stream. Okay.
Yeah, you betcha.
Hopefully they can keep that up. If we remember against Virginia, they started out hot and fell apart late. So it would be good to be able to get Louisville's first since the Scott Teeter era started. If they could win today, they'd be above 500 in ACC play for the first time, I believe.
Nice.
So that'd be nice. Tomorrow, women's golf continues at the Clover Cup. Men's tennis hosts Virginia Tech. Baseball wraps up against Dayton. Women's tennis hosts Xavier at 3:30 at the Bass Road Tennis Center. Monday, men's golf gets started at the General Hackler Invitational in Myrtle Beach. That's hosted by the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina. That event continues on Tuesday. Also on Tuesday, softball will stay in North Carolina through the weekend. They'll head to Charlotte to take on Charlotte. Starting on Wednesday, the Women's NCAA Championships for swimming in Knoxville, Tennessee. Louisville will look for some very good results in that. They've had some strong swimmers this season, both individuals and relays. Louisville hosts Miami of Ohio in baseball at Jim Patterson on Wednesday at 11:30, middle of the day on Wednesday. Not even a special Wednesday; it's just a regular weekday game. So maybe it's like Kids Day or something. They're trying to have some elementary schoolers out or something. The swimming event continues all the way through Saturday. Also on Thursday, lacrosse returns to Louisville. They'll play North Carolina at UofL Lacrosse Stadium. That one's at 1 p.m., so another midday game. Track, just immediately after the indoor season wraps up this weekend at the championships, outdoor season starts at the Yellow Jacket Invitational in Atlanta, Georgia, next Friday. Women's tennis heads to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech on Friday. And the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament starts on Friday. Louisville not listed as a team in this game, obviously, with the bracket set to come out. They do Monday, right?
No, they're Sunday. It's the bracket selection shows this year. The men will be at 6 o'clock on Sunday, and the women at 8 o'clock.
Oh, it used to be on Mondays.
Yeah, right. They used to do primetime men's at 8, or right, or
Yeah.
7,
Yeah.
something like that. Then they would just do primetime women's the next day.
This year they have combined them to the same day, and also I'll get into this a little bit later on, but
Yeah.
UofL has taken another run. Okay, go ahead.
Well, it's because they're tired of the bracket getting leaked, so they can't have their
Yeah.
4-hour selection show anymore because
That's right.
everybody knows what the bracket is after 20 minutes.
Yeah, true.
Also, next Friday, softball returns home. They'll play their first ACC series of the season in Ulmer Stadium. That is, they'll host Pittsburgh at 5 p.m. on Friday. The 3-game set. Men's tennis will be in Tallahassee taking on Florida State, and baseball will bring in Georgia Tech to Jim Patterson Stadium for their first ACC series of the season. That gets us through the week. Almost as many events just going on today as there were for the rest of the week.
There for sure.
So they do have the spring training thing for rowing, which goes throughout the week, and then through Friday, and then starting next Saturday is the Oak Ridge Cardinal Invitational. So they just
traveled down a week early to get acclimated to their boats.
Yeah, and I'm sure to practice in a much nicer setup than what they have on the Ohio River, where they're
for
dodging
sure, yeah.
barges and stuff all the time. So
dodging barges, dodging,
limbs,
trees, entire trees,
sides of houses and stuff.
River working to reach action stage.
Yeah.
I did realize I've been paying more attention as I drive downtown for work because I get off at 3rd Street, right there at the Belvedere, and the river does not need to be anywhere close to what is considered actual action stage for the Belvedere to be basically underwater and water creeping up toward the River Road.
Yeah, the wharf there.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been up pretty high for a week or so now.
Yeah, we've got an update here, fans. Believe it or not, it is 5-1 now.
Yep.
Nope. Excuse me. 5-2.
Spoilers.
Yes, that's right. I'm giving you information that you're not getting if you're watching the ACC Network Extra.
Not yet. Not yet. I will here in a minute, but
here's something to look forward to. It's going to be 5-2 shortly, Jeff.
Yeah.
We're not live on the air, so we can't run afoul of ACC rebroadcasting laws.
That's right. I'm not giving a play-by-play description of the events taking place. I'm just simply offhand mentioning the score, along with other things like my choice and option.
Oh, hey, shock. Boston College just scored in the stream.
Those daggone Eagles. Daggone them. But anyway, yeah, we've got and I had somebody was talking with somebody the other night about how effective Twitter was anymore. I said, do you really use Twitter anymore?
It's going down.
And I told him, yes, I do. I mean, it's an invaluable service for me to do things about my website, to stay in touch with some people, things like that. People enjoy seeing updates on events and stuff. He says Twitter will be non-existent in 3 years. I don't know, Case. What do you think about that before you get into our actual Twitter accounts? Is that something that even makes sense to you?
I don't know. I was thinking to myself last night how much my usage has gone down significantly, which is good for me, but also I used it for a lot of informational reference stuff and not really looking to replace that, which is fine. And like I said, it's better for my ability to stay off my phone and be a little bit more disconnected and not so
mental health
trapped in the minute by minute news cycle. But I don't know. The site is struggling. So whether it will exist in 3 years,
usage is definitely dropping. It's going downhill. It's less quality engagement, I think, clearly. But whether it'll be completely different in 3 years, I don't know. It may get sold in that time period. It may just wither away to irrelevance. I don't know. But I don't think it's going to go back to what it was as far as being a predominant source of information and communication. I think those days have sailed. So.
Yeah, you're probably right. And I hate to kind of see it, but we'll see. I mean, what's the next phase? I mean, 20 years ago, were we talking about Facebook that much now? Yeah, not at all.
Twitter's on the MySpace track.
Yeah, that's right.
It's something that is existing, which there are plenty of other alternatives to all just take it over, in the same way that Facebook, which existed before MySpace but was not considered really a big player, and then it just springboarded past MySpace due to some slip ups that MySpace had. And,
Yeah.
maybe Twitter's on the same track, but for now,
Yeah.
tweet is at best case scenario. Polly is at Cardinal Couple. Jeff, I think, is still at Card Couple Radio and at Jeff McAdams.
Yeah, occasionally I
Doesn't
pull
really
out
tweet
the
about. Doesn't really
sports
tweet
one.
on them. Yeah, but I don't. I
Yeah.
don't hardly
It-
ever tweet for mine either.
It gets the most usage during softball, and I haven't made it out to Almer yet this year, so it hasn't gotten a whole lot of use.
Jared tweets is at Mr. Anderson. Jared, he is still active on Twitter. Daryl is at Daryl Faust 4, and then the other accounts that are very active on Twitter are the UofL athletic accounts, which you can keep up with on the Cardinal Couple website, Twitter widget on the right side of the site.
Go on over to that right-hand side of the site and find out everything you're interested in as far as it goes about other Twitter sources for you to check out. And it's a 5-3 now, by the way. At the end of the first quarter, as Boston College taps in a late score right before the quarter ends. Dadgummit, but an active first quarter there, 5-3. So come on, Cards. Well, we've seen games where Louisville has struggled to score 9 goals.
Yeah.
They've already got 5 in the first quarter, so I'm happy about that.
They are. I will commentary from the stream here. They are playing in snow. It's not snow on the ground, but it is snowing. So.
They play in the same stadium as the football team, right?
Yeah.
I have a hard time running ACC Network Extra and also Video Ninja.
It's I've got ACC Network Extra on my phone so that it doesn't interfere.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So you're set up. So
yeah.
Although you're behind what I'm looking at on Stat Tracker,
right?
You can kind of still.
Well, he would be if he was on his computer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's just the nature of the stream. It encoding, re-encoding, and distributing it out just takes some seconds, up to about a minute.
Quite a bit more data in a video stream than
the
text updates of the step.
Well, sometimes it can be kind of useful. I know, like when I'm up in the press box at Almer, and there's a question on how a play should be scored. If it's on ACC Network Extra or something, they frequently will have it on the screen and the TV in there. And so they'll just wait for what is essentially a replay because the stream is delayed long enough that there's a time to talk it over and then say, well, let's watch. And we all turn and watch it. So
that could always be a lot of fun. I look forward to getting back up there too, Jeff.
Yeah, I love it. It's so much fun. It's just
I really am.
Spending an afternoon at Almer. So it's beautiful, particularly if the weather's nice. You get a breeze and so
indoors, outdoors, it doesn't matter. And then you get a chance to talk to some of the players after the game because Laura's always good about asking you, who do you want? And then I'll usually turn around by saying, what do you think? Who do we ask here? And we come to a mutual agreement. And I notice Holly hasn't been doing a lot of these lately. I know her heart is pining for me to actually come out and interview her. And I'm on my way, dear. I am. I'll be there eventually. But no. So anyway, with that in mind, let's move on to what happened. And we got a actual softball series started last night for the Cards as they went into Durham, North Carolina, to face the Duke Blue Devils. A game where lots of runs took place. Unfortunately, more of them by Duke than they were the Cards. Case had the write-up on this. Louisville, 6 runs will normally get them close in the game, Case, but not so against the Dukies last night.
Yeah, just it was a tough night for pitching. Tough night for Alyssa Zabala, but like I wrote in the article, you have to expect those sometimes from the freshman. She's been very good this season, but she is still new to the collegiate level. So, if she gets dinged around a bit, that's the way it's going to go. You'd like your relief to not get dinged around so much, but despite that, Louisville still should have been in it more than they were. They did outscore Duke 6-5 over the last 4 innings, but those first 3 innings really put themselves in a giant hole, not just by giving up the 4 runs to Duke, but also leaving 7 runners on base in those first 4 innings. They had the bases loaded with, or first 3 innings, they had the bases loaded with nobody out in the first inning, unable to score any runs. And we've talked about it a lot. If you're trying to be a small ball team, those are the opportunities you can't let pass. Most of the, actually, 4 of their 6 runs came on 2 home runs.
Yeah.
So, Daryl, if you're listening, we are still able to hit the ball out of the yard every once in a while, with a small ball mentality. But um, you can't be a small ball team and leave 7 runners on base over 3 innings. To their
Yeah.
credit, they left only 3 on base over the last 4 innings. But like I wrote an article, that hole was just too big to overcome. Duke is a ranked team; they're very good. Won the ACC last year, and despite their youth as a program, and when you've got an opportunity to get runs in early in the game on the road, you got to do it. And unfortunately, they didn't.
A couple home runs here, Jeff, for the Cards, where Hannah File got her first of the season. I think it looks like here to me. 3-run homer for Hannah. And Daisy Hess, our hard hitting, fantastic shortstop, also had a home run in this one. So, you give up a 4-0 lead here. You're down. It wasn't until the fourth inning before we really got started offensively. And it was the pickle. How about that? The pickle
Right.
got us started with a walk. So, Cards were competitive. They just didn't quite put up the runs, I think, sir, that obviously Duke did.
Yeah, I really think this team played pretty well. They were generally doing a good job shutting down Duke's offense, um, with just a couple leaking through here and there. I mean, Duke's a very good team. We have to acknowledge that they're 15th in the country for a reason. So I think they played pretty well against them. We showed that we can play both small ball and big ball against them. We had Hannah Fowl cranked one. And then Daisy Hess cranked one out there in the 6th inning as well. But we also had a lot of good small ball going on there. Unfortunately, some unfortunate plays happened. I think the quintessential example that started out was the first, top of the first inning. Cards are up, they load up the bases, no outs, and somebody hits his line drive shot straight at the third baseman.
Taylor Roby smoked one to the hot corner, and
Oh, it was a Taylor. Okay, I couldn't remember who it was.
Yep.
Yeah, just drilled it, just a line drive right at her. She caught it, reached down with her other hand and touched the base to get the runner who was not able to react fast enough to tag up. So, so just like double play, bang bang, right there. That was just unfortunate. It ended up leaving two runners on base in that first inning without scoring. That was a pattern that developed. You get bases loaded or nearly so, and get just a couple of shots right at people. Good swings, good hits, good contact. It just happened to go directly at somebody to catch it. So saw a lot of that in the game, which is unfortunate. You got to look at it and you say, well, it's swinging well, making good contact. So it's unfortunate.
As mentioned earlier, is this Alyssa Zabala drew the start for the Cards and has been a actually quite impressive freshman pitcher for Louisville out of the prestigious Doral Academy down in Miami, Florida, by the way, too. So she's got that kind of pedigree behind her. But unfortunately, in ACC competition, they kind of said, "Welcome to the big leagues, girl," and got to her pretty well in a 2-inning stretch there to kind of I think it was 4-0 then, and then I think they eventually went up 9-3 at one time. So,
Yep.
but the Cards used 4 pitchers. Am I right on that case?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So Holly has got that this year, and that's a good thing because we can all sit here and remember where we had you know Taylor Roby pray for rain for a couple of days. Maybe Taylor can throw again. The pitching staff was dramatically short as far as healthy or competent arms that could go out there, especially in ACC play. I think she's got that built up now, and we can take just a look at that. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, we saw 4 pitchers yesterday, and there were 2 that didn't hit the circle. At least Taja Felder and Taylor Roby neither entered the circle yesterday. So, that's a pitching staff of at least 6 there that are at least reasonably competent in the circle that we've seen. So,
you take a look at, you've got, of course, Sam Boo.
mhm.
We love Sam and what she's been able to do this year.
Only
Uh,
pitcher to not allow a run that played yesterday.
That's right. Jealous of her hair.
Gabby Holloway, obviously Gabby, a veteran who's been around several years for us, and Taja Felder.
Mhm.
Taja may be one of the, I don't know if she's as recognized as some of the others on the staff, but a right-hander for the Cards. She's actually a senior this year, guys, and I did not realize that she had been around that long. But
Yep.
she is a senior this year. We had mentioned, of course, Alyssa as being on the team, the right-handed pitcher. She's a freshman, and then if you take a look at some of the other arms that are on the staff, obviously Taylor Roby, who is listed as a graduate pitcher for us, and then Casey Grizzard, who wears the double zeros on her roster or on her jersey, excuse me, out of Virginia, freshman pitcher, and so it's good to have that much there. The thing is, you've got to worry about later on in the season. How many arms are going to hold out? What's going to happen to so or so? You have to kind of worry about that, obviously, but not as much as in past years because you've got more pitching to spread around.
Yeah.
Now, here's a quiz for you guys, real quick one. Who's the tallest player on the softball team? No cheating and looking at the roster. Case, Jeff, Case, you go ahead first. If you're going to throw one out there, who is the tallest one that you think is on the team?
I don't know. Daisy Hess.
I don't think she's fairly tall, but I don't think so. I think you got to think maybe Taylor Roby's up there. She's pretty tall. And I haven't been able to be up close and see in person, so I don't have a good sense, but I kind of am struck by, I think Paige Garrity's pretty tall, maybe. Don't know.
Case nails it right off the bat at
Is it?
5'11". Yeah.
Yeah.
No 6-footers, but 5'11", which would lead us into the other end of the spectrum. Who is the shortest player on the
Allie
team?
Alexander at 5'1".
Very good. Yeah, Jeff. That was a gimme, Jeff.
Yeah, we mother and mom and I talked about that last night, actually. So
just pick up your ball and move along.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's hope that they can get things done today. Obviously in the doubleheader, and maybe get one win in there. So I would think probably that I don't know. What's the forecast down there? Has anybody got any clue on?
Cold.
Is the stuff supposed to be coming in on
49
Sunday?
today,
Yeah. So
I don't know. I know they were. Everybody looked cold last night. You can see their breath.
High of 52, 0% chance of precipitation. Or sorry, high of 55, currently 52.
Yeah.
In Durham, North Carolina.
So
The
cool.
rain comes in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Get them in safely and get 2 today, Cards. Go ahead and get 2. We'll move it on over real quickly here to lacrosse. Wow, what a difference a couple minutes make, right? As the Cards are now locked in a 6-6 tie with Boston College.
Spoilers.
I told you, see if they could keep it up, and yet
with 11
Here we are.
There it is. Okay.
Second quarter, yes. 6-6 is. And Teeter's taking a timeout, obviously, to discuss what is going on here and who is this Bella Smith and why is she scoring so many goals on us.
Yeah, of course. But we got to keep in mind we're playing Boston College is number 5 team in the country,
number 5
so
in the nation. Yeah, I mean, and it's up there and everything. So for us to hang in there that long, but taking a look at this team and then some of the things that they've done this year, it's been a good start. They were able to beat Pittsburgh to in their first ACC win of the season. They haven't been all that bad. They've got definitely some strength in goalkeep. Well, I'll start with you, Jeff. This is a better product than last year.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. We've watched Teeter build teams. I think we've maybe a little bit of frustration that it's taken as long as it has. I don't know. I certainly had hoped for some better production by this point, but there is improvement. There is definitely, without question, improvement. Every year gets a little better. Um, I don't think you put a coach on the hot seat when they're improving, even if it's improving slower than you wanted. You still say, "Oh, okay, well, it's moving along. Let's try and hurry it along." But as long as the improvement happens, okay, let's go for it. So, and I think you're definitely seeing that this year. We've seen the past several years where the Cards have played close but not gotten over the hump and not won many games, but had many close ones. I think this year we're starting to see a bit even closer or a few wins getting eked out of them. So um, I'm hopeful. I'd love to see this program step up and be at that level of some of the other programs in the athletic department of being contending for top level national consideration.
No doubt about that. Teeter's definitely got the staff, I think, now, a very good coaching staff. I got a chance to meet one of his other assistants when I was up there for the interview last weekend, and Allison Daly. Boy, was I impressed with her knowledge. Wow.
Hmm.
I mean, she definitely knows the game. There is no doubt about that. And then, of course, Kay Moore said, "You just got to love Kay to death every time I walk in there." I'm like, "Can you clone yourself for draw controls? Can we
Yeah.
get your Have you got a little sister hanging out somewhere that you could teach?" Kay is so much fun to be around. And Scott Teeter is a very pragmatic coach. And the reason I say that case is because he reacts to things, but he doesn't overreact to things. He doesn't take things to an hysterical level. Something happens, he reacts to it. If he's got to go a little further, he'll go a little further, but he doesn't get into drama over an issue. I think that's what you need in a coach.
Yeah, and I think that we talk about the comparisons between lacrosse and basketball frequently. Basketball's a little more compact, uh, a lot more compact as far as the floor goes. Um, so lineups and specific plays getting drawn up can make a difference. But one of the major differences between lacrosse and a lot of sports is that it kind of comes down to what um, in a similar way to soccer, it comes down to execution just as much as it does to coaching. And we've seen Louisville be in a lot of positions where, like today, right? They're up 5-1. Um, what there's not much you can really think that Scott Teeter would be able to do to get his team beyond saying like keep doing what you're doing and make sure we're sticking to the game plan defensively. There's not much more you can do before your team all of a sudden, like you said, is tied at 6-6. It comes down to some execution. Either you start missing shots, you start slipping a bit on defense. Um, to that extent, Louisville's been in that position quite a few times over the last few years. Like Jeff said, hoping to get over that hump. And you'd like to have done that already, but the program and the situation that Teeter inherited, I think he's been given a long lead. Um, is that shortening? I don't know. I doubt it. I mean, he's like we said, getting improvement. Um, won his first ACC game a couple of years ago. Won another one last year. Has already won one after 2 ACC games this season. Could be in a position to make some noise. We've seen Louisville get ranked even with poor records because of their tough scheduling. So um, I think Louisville is in a position where they're just about ready to turn the corner, and you hope they can turn it soon.
And it's hat trick time up in Boston College.
Mhm.
Nicole Peroni gets her third goal of the game, and the Cards up now 7-6. Uh, one of the things that he and I talked about when he and I did our interview a couple weeks back was the fact of trying to get some type of consistency on a team, trying to get the consistency of where practices were the same each time. That if you had some quality players that left the program due to graduation, you had quality players that were ready to step up and take their roles, doing that on a yearly basis, not having to get to the spot where you were like, wow, I just lost a talented bunch of seniors and I got nothing in my other classes here. What am I going to do? Compound that with the fact that basically he had to take over a program that was broken
Mm. Yeah.
and rebuild it. So hopefully that will work for him. We're going to leave lacrosse with the score 7-7. If anybody wants to follow on stat tracker with me,
Helen,
they
man.
can see it. And let's go in and talk a little bit of NCAA women's basketball tournament, guys, coming up here. Obviously, we're going to have the Selection Sunday that's coming up. A Selection Sunday this year where UofL is not going to have any type of public watch party open to the public or media for this. That surprises me. That confuses me. And that also disappoints me a little bit.
Yeah, they haven't had that in a few years, though.
Last year, media was invited, along with
Yeah.
some others, to go to Hurstburn and watch it.
Yeah.
And we certainly had a very good time there. With Jared and I and Sonya went
Before
out
that
to
was kind of COVID time frame, so it's been a few years
yeah,
since they've
it was
done anything, and
it was
I don't where are they going to set something up to be able to handle, because you do that you're going to have 4,000 people there,
yeah, and certainly if something like that were to be the situation, then I think that you could very very easily take a look and say, okay, if 4,000 people want to come out to this thing, let's just go ahead and open the lower bowl of the KFCM Center and do it there.
It's expensive.
Yeah, would be cost
It's the
prohibitive.
problem of not owning your own arena, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's true. And if the weather was a little better, I'd say take them out to Lynn. But no, you can't do that either. So
Mm.
I guess rather than maybe going through all the headaches and hassle of everything that's involved with doing something like that, U of L just decided this year, maybe a few of us will gather in the Cuber Center and watch it there and see what happens. Keeping the media out, though, there I have a difficulty. There I have a problem.
Yeah, that strikes me as a little odd, but
We
you
got
know,
that.
it's
I actually got that email yesterday.
yeah. I don't know.
Tried to. It bothers me. Why can't you have, okay, how many media representatives would show up for something like this? I can take you back to past years. There's usually no more than a dozen.
It's like
Okay.
big handful, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get probably the 4 major television networks will show up. You'll usually have a couple beat reporters,
Yep.
people who run various websites will make up the other half.
Yep.
Okay, and that's it. You don't have anybody coming in from Cincinnati or Indianapolis or anything like that. You don't have no. It bothers me a bit. I suppose I will get over it, and I'll be able to watch it here in television, where obviously the food and the drink will be much less expensive, and the bathroom lines are a lot shorter. But still, I can remember down at Sports and Social Club when they had it down there.
Mhm.
A great event, fantastic fun.
And absolutely mobbed.
Oh, it was. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, they had a bowling alley attached too
Yeah.
to that facility down there. And so after we went around and did our rounds and talked to everybody, we were getting ready to leave. We happened to walk by the bowling alley, and Maisha Hines Allen was holding basically court inside there, and she and her then girlfriend were involved in a bowling match against a couple of, we have no idea who they were bowling against, but it was getting loud and just a little bit righteous. Maisha was hooting and hollering and stuff, and why it didn't work for her on the women's pro bowling tour, I don't know, but it's another story, another time. Looking at this though, let's. What do you guys think?
Imagining Maisha Hines Allen with a Pete Weber esque. Who do you think you are? I am. I'm sure she said that to plenty of people on the basketball floor.
She had a pretty wicked curve. I remember that. She hooked well with that bowling ball. Where are the cards in this thing? Are we a 6 seed, a 7 seed? I've heard as high as a 5 seed. I've heard as low as an 8 seed. What do you guys think? Case?
it feels crazy to be talking about a seed that low,
Yeah,
right? I
it's
just
just not what
can't.
you expect out of this program anymore.
Well, and it, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to just see what the latest bracketology has Louisville as. I mean, they don't feel like they've been.
I've seen it as a 7, but
Looks like ESPN's current bracketology has Louisville as a 5 seed in the Seattle 4 region. Are they
oof.
only playing 2 regions? They've got Greenville 1, Greenville 2, Seattle 3, and
Yeah,
Yeah,
Seattle
there's
4.
2
yeah,
locations basically for those.
yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. But that would put them in Stanford's region. Uh, great. Everybody wants to play them again right off the bat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Uh, I think a 5 is probably right. 5 to 6. I don't see a 7 or 8. They had a pretty good showing at the ACC tournament. Notre Dame was maybe shorthanded, but Louisville didn't play around with it. If Louisville wins that game by 5 or 6 points, it's close. Everybody's pointing and saying, "Well, they didn't have XYZ." Uh, there was some more injuries that happened during the game. People can point at that and poo-poo it as a win, but they didn't do that. Louisville left no doubt as to who was going to be the better team in that one, um, and then put up a pretty good fight against Virginia Tech. Um, and so I think they definitely helped their tournament resume there with the ACC tournament itself. So I think a 5 is probably about right. Um, man, they've got Virginia Tech listed as a 1 seed here. Louisville would probably be fine with being a 5 seed in Virginia Tech's region and getting another shot at them the same way they got another shot at Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, there had been discussion if the Cards had been able to beat Virginia Tech in the finals of the ACC tournament, they would have got a 4 seed. I don't know if I fully believe that or not. It means we could have hosted, obviously, then again, but
Yeah.
I see us more. I see us higher than Case. I see us as a 7 seed. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, and I don't know if my emotions are controlling me or not, but I see more of a 6 or a 5. I haven't looked at any of the bracketology stuff. I haven't really looked at a lot of the other teams to know how really they stack up. But this team is a good team. We know they have the capability. Just struggled all year putting together a full 40 minutes. And starting to do so in the postseason. So I think I see that and think, wait, this is a number 5 or 6, maybe even higher, better team. But that's not what bracketology and the selection committee typically goes on. They look at past performance, and the past performance isn't really there as much. So, um,
So looking
yeah,
at this bracketology, the 6 seeds behind, so the 6 and 7 seeds behind Louisville. 6, you've got Iowa State, Michigan, Washington State, and Arizona, and then 7s are NC State, Florida State, Creighton, and South Florida. I don't see
yeah,
4 of those teams bumping Louisville to the 6 line.
Yeah.
Or I guess you would need 5 of those teams to be better than Louisville to bump them to the 7 line from this.
yeah.
And that just doesn't seem
And I don't.
realistic to me looking
Yeah.
at it. Like,
And
it's
I
a
don't think so
down year for
either. Yeah.
WBB.
I don't think so either. But then again, like I said, I don't know how much of that is me being particularly familiar with the UofL team and knowing that they're capable of playing much better than maybe their resume and history suggests. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I tend to think a 5 or a 6 is probably pretty reasonable.
Never forget it is the NCAA.
Yeah.
That will hurt the Cards. But all right, let's real quick before we get into final thoughts. You guys give me a winner. Who's going to win this tournament this year? Just who do you think off the top of your head?
South Carolina.
Jeez. Yeah.
Is it South Carolina?
Yeah, I don't see much doubt in that, honestly.
It's really hard to disagree with you
Maybe
guys.
Stanford.
I think it's South Carolina's to lose. I could see other teams
Yeah.
being able to win it. But if you gave me South Carolina versus the field, and surprisingly, because usually people are always going to say the field, but this year I think it's South Carolina.
They do look pretty awesome, don't they?
Yeah.
I'd like to see Virginia Tech have a nice long run.
Yeah.
As long
I'd
as they're
like
on the in a different region than us, they can go all the way to the Final Four for all I care.
Yeah.
Kitley going up
Would love
against
it.
Boston though in the final game. Oof, that would be kind of rough, wouldn't it? Leah Boston is an incredible basketball
It's an
player.
incredible play, and Kitley probably wouldn't get that ACC whistle in the Final Four.
Yeah, I would guarantee she wouldn't, and that would be fine by me, pal.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, the way that they've got it set up right now, and obviously this is just ESPN's bracket, but it's been pretty close the last few years.
Oh yeah,
Surprisingly, as much as we like to poo-poo on Charlie Cream,
Hmm.
but they've got South Carolina, Stanford meeting in the Final Four and not in the final game.
well, Cameron Brake's a hell of a ball player, y'all.
So who do they
gotta watch
have as overall number 2 then?
Indiana.
Yeah.
Did
They
they
got-
do
so
that
they've got
before
South
Iowa?
Carolina.
They've been really good. So
South Carolina, Indiana, Virginia Tech, Stanford. That wraps around the.
I
mean,
used to
'cause
play
Stanford
well all
lost.
year
Stanford
That's-
lost in the
yeah.
Pac
in the
12
Pac-12 tournament, right?
tournament.
Yeah.
They're not the automatic qualifier out of the Pac-12.
They got
Yeah.
knocked out of that early, yeah. And of course,
Ah.
Iowa beat Indiana.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Iowa is the automatic qualifier out of
yeah.
out of the Big 12.
Grace Berger's a heck of a ball player, but couldn't take him to the title. So it's all ahead. It's going to be fun. You've heard
Yeah.
the guys' predictions on it. Yeah, I can't wait for it to start, except for having to grade the brackets. So don't forget to get into our bracket selection as well. You'll see more about that on the websites as we get ready to it. And what is it? Thursday, Friday, first games next week. So.
Correct.
All right. With that said, it's time for us to roll into some final thoughts. So we'll go ahead and keep this in alphabetical order and start with Case.
I'll just mention again. I briefly mentioned it during scheduling and Twitter, but the ACC Indoor Track and Field Championships, Louisville was represented by Sinclair Savage and Elia Welter. Savage with a 7th place finish in the women's long jump. Program first points scoring woman in a horizontal jump category in the NCAA Indoor Championships, which seems like a lot of qualifiers, but is still impressive nonetheless. She gets an All-American, first team All-American nod for that one. And then Elia Welter, 10th place in the pole vault. That's her best finish in the NCAA championship event. And that's the second team All-American nod. So congratulations to both of them. And like I said, we'll see them back in action starting next week.
And hopefully big action for them as well. All right, Jeff, what you got for me?
Yeah, I just want to shout out a fun event that happened this week. UofL Volleyball hosted a joint spring practice with the women's soccer team and the field hockey team. It wasn't open to the public or anything, but we did find, they posted about it afterwards. It looks like everybody had a lot of fun. And that was just, I think, a really cool idea. I think basically what they did was just some basic volleyball skills for the other teams to kind of get some experience with it and understand and just develop a rapport between those teams. It was a lot of fun. They did post video online of Karen Ferguson Days doing an overhand volleyball serve and barely
Did it get over the net?
Well, with a little help, but
So, a setter standing in front of the net to
Just
get it
little
the rest
pulling
of the
the
way.
net down so it
pulled
over.
the net down. Yeah, they
Yeah.
really did. Yeah. But I laughed about it. I said I was trying to imagine how that practice went with volleyball hitting it over the net, soccer hitting it into the net, and field hockey hitting it under the net. So yeah. But a lot of fun. It's very cool. I just wanted to call that out and say, hey, that's pretty neat. So
I just don't know if I want to see Justine Sauer out there setting up
Yeah.
somebody to do a slam. She would
Make
probably
sure
just
when they do this on when soccer hosts their version, make sure they take away the field hockey players' sticks.
Right? That's what I'm going to
yeah.
like. The field hockey players are out there. Wait a minute, we're supposed to.
Say
we
what
are
field hockey,
supposed
yeah.
to use our body. Hang on.
You
Just
can't
see them
block
like
my shot with
swinging,
that stick.
see them swinging at nothing because they don't
Yeah.
have a stick, and then just like
Yeah.
the ball rolls past them. You're like, "Ah, guys, you got to."
You actually hit it. It's not a foul to hit it with your body in this sport.
If they have the all women sports golf tournament too, that could be another fun event to watch. Bringing everybody out, especially the girls who play tennis. But hey, we'll see what happens with that. Final thoughts out of here. Not a whole lot in my realm of thought here right now. I am looking forward to see where the Cards get in the NCAA tournament. I am looking forward to see what Louisville will do with a media availability to the team prior to them assumingly having to leave town. I don't think they're going to get a 4 seed, but if the Cards are on the road first and second round, I think they will be. I would think that UofL would have some type of media availability prior to them leaving town.
Yeah.
We'll be watching, of course, Go Cards, and I get emails all the time from the women's basketball SID, Matt Paris. So I'll wait to see what Matt Paris has to say about this, and I'll let you all know when I find out. But other than that, let's hope it's a good run for the Cards. I'd like to see another Final Four appearance. How about y'all? Let's see if we can get there. But that'll do it. I want to thank everybody for listening, and we'll be back with you all next week with probably a whole bunch of basketball scores and observations. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, probably.
Next Saturday at 11 a.m. for the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour. And so thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you then.